Good morning, everybody. I'm State Representative Tornecker, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. I represent the 193rd District, which is parts of Adams and Cumberland County. The location of today's press conference was chosen deliberately. Not only is it a family-owned business that has employees that have been affected by the COVID-19 crisis, but it also serves as the border of Adams and York County. York and Adams County have a long history of working together. The people here share community services and government services. We use the same health systems and business programs. Many work and shop between the two counties. The counties together are a region in and of itself. In fact, almost 600,000 residents live within its borders. That's almost 5% of Pennsylvania's population. We are truly connected as a region in our history, in our economy, and now for another very important reason. Both counties meet the governor and Department of Health metrics and data points for reopening our economy. According to the 50 cases per 100,000 metric, the York-Adams region is under the threshold by nearly 20% over the last 14 days. More importantly, our hospital systems have indicated that they have adequate PPE, beds, ventilators, and testing capabilities. As a result, our counties are ready to handle the COVID crisis currently and in the future. Our nursing home communities have successfully managed their facilities with only 34 cases in the 9 nursing homes that serve our two counties. The last metric that the governor and the Department of Health are relying upon is the Carnegie Mellon risk-based decision modeling. Unfortunately, the governor and Department of Health have chosen to withhold a lot of the details as it pertains to this particular model. However, based upon the limited information that has been put out there, South Central Pennsylvania's risks are the same or below Southwestern PA's risks, which is set to reopen this Friday. Our folks have stayed home. By all accounts, we've flattened the curve. Our local hospitals are not overwhelmed with COVID patients. Our health systems are prepared. Adams and York County stand ready to reopen. We as elected officials, business owners, employees, and community members are not cowards. But we are here today to lay out our case for reopening immediately. Thank you. We're going to turn it over now to some other speakers. Next, I'd like to call up the chairman of the House Appropriations, Stan Saylor.
Thanks, Doran. Great comments. I'm here today after the governor's comments and remarks about local county officials I believe were beneath the dignity of his office. And our county officials are more acutely aware of the suffering that's been going on throughout their own regions. The governor has turned a blind eye to this suffering and continues to rattle off edicts to everyone across our Commonwealth with little to no transparency at all. You know, politicians we talk about how important it is for our small business men and women that they have to sacrifice and work long haul and hard hours to build their businesses and keep our Commonwealth running. Now that they're facing a bleak prospect of losing everything, and I repeat, everything that they have built. In this moment of crisis, they turn to government, and they are repulsed to hear how out of touch our governor is. This pandemic has been challenging for each and every one of us in Pennsylvania, but the governor's response to this crisis has been haphazard and cloaked in secrecy. Unlike Governor Cuomo, who takes questions on a daily basis from the media, he has somebody who sits there and filters through the questions that he wants to answer, not all questions that the media has about his actions. His sparse press conferences are not in person and do not allow the press to adequately question him on the data the health department is releasing, which is incomplete in many ways. Members of the General Assembly, including the Speaker of the House, have asked for additional information and have not gotten it. People are becoming fed up with his lackluster leadership and the void of keeping our local government officials informed and up to date. They should be recommending to our local government officials and asking for their opinions and keeping them in the loop. We can get back to work while still protecting our citizens. This pandemic is something that we need to remain vigilant about. We all value every life that we have, no matter where they're at, whether in a nursing home or assisted care, or they're in our schools or our colleges and our universities or wherever. Our response needs to be data-driven. And the first step that we need is to make sure that all of our steps and every action we take is transparent, that the people can understand exactly how and why and the decisions that are being made in our Commonwealth. All of this is in the best interest of all of our citizens. When government is cloaked in secrecy, there's a real doubt about leadership. Today, I'm calling on the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Tom Wolf, to apologize and retract his statement by calling local county officials cowards. As I said earlier, that is beneath the dignity of his office, and it is unbelievable that any public official would call men and women who serve and are elected by the citizens of this Commonwealth, and many of which have served in our armed forces, cowards. It is truly, these people have continued to work. County commissioners, county officials are continuing to work hard in their counties to develop plans to protect their citizens. And today, I call on the governor to look at the statistics that he has told Pennsylvanians about and open up York and Adams County. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Senator Mike Regan.
Thank you, Torrin. Thanks to all my colleagues that are here today. Thank you to Jean Lotta Ford and to all the fine people from the community that are here today. It's interesting that we're here at Jean Lotta Ford because all of our car dealerships in Pennsylvania were one of the industries that was being held up by the governor. When unfortunately people from Pennsylvania had to go to Maryland and to Ohio and to other states to buy their cars for so long. So unfair. Just one of the very unfair aspects of this. As a matter of fact, as chairman of the Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee, I subpoenaed the records pertaining to the waiver process that the governor used because we wanted to see exactly how that unmitigated disaster was being figured out. So we never have to go through that again. The governor has refused to turn over the records. I'm wondering, I think everybody's wondering, what is he hiding? What is in there that he does not want us to see? So we've petitioned the Commonwealth Court. We've asked that they order the governor to turn over the records. You know, we have other things at our disposal. I mean, we could hold him in contempt of Senate, which is something we don't want to do. But I think when you continue to operate under the shroud of secrecy and operate in the dark and try to prevent Pennsylvanians to find out how they're being governed, that creates problems in every direction. Kate Klunk asked if I'd speak about the law enforcement response to the stay-at-home order, and I feel very blessed to live in York County and to be part of York County, where we have a DA who says, look, I know the difference between criminals and hardworking, law-abiding citizens, and I'm not going to arrest anybody who's open for business. Now, the governor, as Stan so eloquently mentioned, said yesterday in his speech that he was coming after people's licenses. He was going to see that people had problems with their insurance, that he was imposing sanctions against hardworking Pennsylvanians. You know, during a time when people are really struggling, and when we have mom and pop shops, and we have single moms running salons and different businesses who have just gotten to the point where they need to open to just survive, to just feed their families. And the governor wants to be a tough guy and go after these people. Well, I say, I dare you. I dare you. No matter who you think you are, Governor Wolf, this is still America. We are still Americans, and we will be free. God bless everyone. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to invite up Representative Dan Mao.
Thank you, Torrin. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. Less than a mile from here, as the crow flies, there's a large shopping district. Within this shopping district lies a Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's. Mixed in with these big box stores are stores our governor considers to be non-essential. So when people need office supplies, they're forced to go to Walmart because the office supply store is closed. You can go to the Home Depot to buy shrubs and mulch, but the garden center up the street is closed. You can buy paint at the big box stores, but the paint store is closed. The CDC says it is much better to practice social distancing, but the governor's policies are forcing everyone into these big box stores. You should see their parking lots on the weekends. I would think it would be construed to be much safer if we allowed people to spread out by opening these small businesses. This administration has determined that some surgeries are elective and must wait. That might be true for cosmetics, but try telling that to someone who needs a knee or a hip replacement. We have families literally living in hotel rooms for months because they can't settle on their home. Some manufacturing is shut down when we know they could very easily adopt safe practices to open. You see, these policies are not just hurting businesses, they're hurting families. Please allow me to read a small sampling of emails that we elected officials receive almost on a daily basis. Hello, Dan. I started my unemployment claim on March 20th, did not receive a PIN until April 14th. I made 2 biweekly claims on the 14th dating back to the 20th. I still have yet to receive a payment released to me. Unemployment compensation phone lines are flooded. I've sent numerous emails, and their chat rooms will not bring up a representative to speak with me. Hello, Mr. Mal. I've been trying very hard to get unemployment. As of right now, I'm approved to receive it. My wife has spent hours trying to get into the chat center, and she has also sent many emails to wind up getting the same form letter over and over again. And this is the one that really gets me. Another day and no unemployment PIN. This is getting really old quickly. We are out of money, out of food, out of time. Please help us. This particular gentleman served in our military. 2 weeks ago, I stood on the House floor and called for the names and positions of those on the governor's team making these policies. To date, we still have not received an answer. We in the General Assembly are supposed to be an equal branch of the government. We have been totally cut out of all decision making and consultation. There's a wealth of knowledge in the General Assembly brought in from members who worked in the outside world before politics. To my knowledge, the state chamber was not consulted, industry leaders were not consulted, hospitals were not consulted, the real estate association was not consulted, the outdoor activities associations were not consulted. You get the idea. I am positive that if the governor's team were to work hand in hand with the General Assembly and the stakeholders who represent these businesses and industries, we could come up with safe practices to get people back to work. Governor, if you do have the opportunity to watch this press conference, I beg you to work with these people and the General Assembly to develop stay safe guidelines in which to start opening businesses in counties like Adams and York. I can attest from the people I represent that this is like a pressure cooker and the pressure is building every day. Governor, I'm begging you, do not allow this to blow up. Thank you for your time. I'd like to bring up Steve Loudon now, one of the owners of this fine place in which we're standing.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Steve Latta, president of Gene Latta Ford, and a second-generation Latta here at this family dealership. My family business has been serving York and Adams County for 47 years. The shutdowns affected my family of employees, my community of customers, and friends immensely. It's affected a lot of people. And if anybody that knows me, they know that I care about people with a heavenly gaze. During our closure, we had numerous businesses and entities deemed essential that we were unable to serve. Pennsylvania was one of only 3 states that was shut down for automotive sales operations. Some looked to our south where dealers remained open. The majority did wait for us. We had numerous healthcare professionals who needed vehicles. After we reopened with online sales, we were able to deliver 2 police vehicles to local municipalities. We were able to replace a first responder vehicle that had been totaled. A local plumbing contractor and landscaper vehicles that were totaled, and they were essential businesses. They needed new vehicles. We had to wait until we could deliver those to them. We can operate our sales, service, and parts operations safely and effectively while serving this community that I love. I'm an emotional guy, so I guess I'll apologize for that now going. We're taking necessary steps to sanitize each and every vehicle as it comes in and before we hand it back to the customers. We're sanitizing our showroom, we're wiping down door handles. We've got staff with our masks, we're doing all the protective measures that we need to do to operate safely. We've installed shields at our service writer's desk and our cashier's window to protect our customers and try and keep spacing. We set up a second service waiting room so we don't have an overflow with our customers and our employees. We're working with appointments with online sales, limiting the number of people we have in the dealership. We have our sales team divided into 2 split teams so we're not overlapping while they're working remotely from home, developing online appointments and doing the necessary things. We've been doing business for 47 years and we're ready to continue to operate with the help of these representatives and officials here today. I want to thank them for their bravery. There is a word going around of cowardice, but I want to thank them for their bravery to be here and do this. Give us, as we the people, fight against oppressive measures. Small businesses are the heartbeat of America, and I'm proud to be here and represent this today. Thank you and God bless.
Next, I'd like to welcome one of our Adams County Commissioners, Randy File.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Randy File. I'm the Adams County Chair Commissioner, and I stand before you here today with my colleague, Commissioner Martin, and many other elected colleagues from York and Adams County to request that Governor Wolf and his team move Adams County and our qualifying neighboring counties in South Central Pennsylvania to yellow. I am requesting the change of status based upon the strength of our testing and tracking numbers, which qualify Adams County to move to yellow status according to the administration's own metrics. The same request was sent in a formal correspondence to the governor on Friday by Commissioner Martin and myself, along with the York-Adams legislative delegation. I personally followed up on that request to the governor's office staff liaison for Adams County on both Saturday and Sunday. We urge the governor to consider the strong position of Adams and York County and the entire South Central Pennsylvania region to yellow status. I think we all know that the onslaught of COVID-19 in the United States as a whole, and more specifically in the Commonwealth, has wrought economic destruction, causing thousands to lose jobs and incomes, and causing business owners to sustain losses that are unparalleled in our history, now I believe even exceeding the Depression. I also know that every elected official here today, and probably every official in Pennsylvania, shares the same principle and goal of saving lives by slowing the transmission rate of this virus and ensuring that our health system does not become overwhelmed with those suffering. But beside that, there's also an economic part of this. As I stand here today, I can't walk in Mr. Latta's dealership and buy an essential vehicle from one salesperson. But yet, I can throw a baseball to where I can stand in line at Home Depot to get in. Go into a congested Lowe's parking lot, there's hardly a parking spot. I can go into Target, I can go into Sheetz. I can do all those things, and guess what? I can go 10 miles across the Maryland line and I can buy the same vehicle in Maryland. And that business in Maryland is benefiting with taxes and fees and everything else. But I can't do it here. And that inconsistency is causing skepticism among our population. And we can clear that up pretty quickly. There's no doubt that the health and safety of our residents is paramount. It always will be. I would also hope that we all and the governor share another common goal of revitalizing a shattered economy. It is estimated that 20 to 25% of our businesses may never reopen their doors. Adams County economic drivers are tourism, ag retail, and agritourism, and it's been devastated by the coronavirus. Balancing lives and livelihoods is no doubt challenging. It's a real challenge, but it is not an insurmountable task. What does a green light mean? A green light means proceed. But what does a yellow light mean? It means proceed with caution. Let me be clear, Governor Wolf, a yellow light is what we're sensibly requesting. I just want to tell you that we have begun to reopen Adams County government to the public as allowed, using a cautious, staggered, and gradual methodology with recommended practices. The courts have begun proceedings to reduce backlogs. Last week, yesterday, our row offices opened, and next Monday, the Veterans Affairs Office, Elections Office, and Domestic Relations will open. I join Commissioner Martin and my fellow elected colleagues in York and Adams County in requesting that Governor Wolf and the Pennsylvania Department of Health consider and respond to the medical metrics, their own metrics, that we have submitted for transitioning to yellow to protect lives while also protecting the livelihood of county residents. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite up York County Commissioner Ron Smith.
Thanks, everybody. Want to get the legal ramifications out of the way. Yes, I had my temperature taken today and it was 97.3. As a York County Commissioner, I strongly support the recent letter signed by the members of our state delegation to Governor Wolf, requesting York County be moved into the yellow zone, thus reopening local businesses and restarting our local economy. As York County has satisfied most, if not all, of the criteria set forth by the Commonwealth, I see no reason why businesses should not be allowed to open when following recommended CDC guidelines. Furthermore, I support the positions taken by our district attorney, our sheriff's office, in upholding the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth. We, as elected officials, took an oath to protect, defend the freedoms and rights of American citizens, and I intend to uphold that promise. The path forward now has become very clear. York County businesses should be permitted to reopen and begin the road back to financial recovery, both for themselves and their employees in a safe manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Next, I'd like to invite up Representative Dawn Kiefer.
Good morning. We've all been put in a really, really tough position, especially our local and county officials. They deal with the day-to-day individuals coming to them, pleading with them. They know what's going on in their counties. They know the struggles that people have. And the last thing they want to do is put any of the citizens of the counties or their local governments in harm's way. We have the best interest of our citizens in mind. We know how to operate our businesses and be cautious at the same time. We can do both. We have flattened the curve. The governor continues to declare that he is going to make data-driven decisions. Yet time and time again, he ignores that actual data, his own data. He establishes metrics, and those metrics change daily. And yet we're still hitting all of those metrics, exceeding those in both York and Adams County, and we're still denied the opportunity to open. We demand consistency. We demand an answer. Follow your own guidelines. Follow the data and the science. It's there. We flattened this curve. It is time to open up York and Adams County today. In that spirit, we have today with us some of our different municipalities have passed resolutions that have said we stand ready to open. Our municipality is ready to open. Our businesses can conduct business safely. We have with us today Mr. O'Neill from Hopewell Township, who will talk a little bit about what their township is doing.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. Hopewell Township has 6 confirmed positive cases. We at the local level know what is in the best interest of our residents. Unlike some in Harrisburg who continue to issue edicts developed in a vacuum with no input or no real knowledge of what is going on in the counties. We live next door to small business owners who are struggling. The single mom who has been furloughed and stresses on how long she will be able to feed her children. Some of our residents are essential workers. They're still reporting to their critical jobs every day, and we salute them. But they too worry of the toll the shutdown is taking on their families. People are getting increasingly desperate. Suicides, overdoses, domestic abuse, and child abuse are all rising at alarming levels, with many unreported until it is too late. There was a recent article in the York Daily Record on this exact case. The long-term scarring of people's lives is real, and just as, if not more deadly than COVID-19. Many are losing their entire life's work. We must reopen these businesses now, safely, following CDC guidelines. Remaining shut down any longer is going to be difficult to enforce. Every day we see the traffic getting heavier and more people are venturing out. Are we going to put our barbers, hairdressers, retail workers, and self-employed people in handcuffs and send them to prison? These folks are getting desperate for money and supplies. Do you think at some point these people have nothing left to lose and will risk challenging and breaking down authority? Do you think those with authority won't strike back harder against those disobeying the indefinite, vague, and crippling restrictions we're seeing from Harrisburg? They're risking wasting away people's life's work. This may lead to a massive escalation in force. The cure is becoming increasingly worse than the disease. There is a path to reopen businesses safely, but it takes all of us working together to make our voices heard. In addition, I do encourage York County citizens to be smart and continue to practice social distancing and other recommendations by the CDC as we start to reopen. Thank you and stay safe.
Yeah. Okay. Good. We're going to keep moving along here to Representative Klunk, Representative Kate Klunk from Hanover.
Thank you so much, and thanks for all being here today. I represent the 169th District, which is just to the south of us. I represent the big box stores that everyone has been talking about here today that have been open. But I also represent thousands of small businesses, those mom and pop shops, who are truly the backbone of this local community and our Commonwealth. On behalf of them and the constituents of my district on Friday, during a call with Dr. Rachel Levine, I laid out our case like we have pled here today, why we here in York County meet the criteria to take that step to safely move to yellow. During that conference call, Dr. Levine could not provide me an answer as to why York County was not meeting that criteria to move to yellow. Now, our small businesses, they stand a lot to gain from moving to yellow, especially those small mom and pop retailers. They can safely reopen, and they've been planning for weeks to have that opportunity to serve their customers and protect their employees. And today, I would like to welcome up to give a few remarks Mandy Weaver, who is a small local retailer who serves so many families, moms, fathers, and children throughout Adams and York County. Mandy, please come up and join us.
Good morning. My name is Mandy Weaver, and I am the owner-operator of a children's boutique here in Hanover. On March 18th, my business, along with thousands of small businesses across the Commonwealth, closed our doors. We did this in an effort to protect our customers, because on that day, like on every day, our customers' well-being came first. We took the following 2 weeks to plan. We were not at that time asked to have a plan in place to reopen. The thing is, though, when you own a community-centered business, you don't have to be asked to protect those you serve. You exist to serve your customers and their needs. Their health and well-being are always paramount. When the 2-week period ended, we were prepared. We had cleaned every surface. We had supplies on hand to sanitize. We rearranged our physical buildings to allow for social distancing. We knew that we knew then that we could protect our customers for the period of their day when they frequented our establishments. We were not, however, even asked if we could handle it. No one allowed us to show the processes we put in place, the plans to slowly reopen, making sure that we could continue to serve the community that needed us now more than ever. Instead, we watched as our customers, many of whom had lost so much, struggled to find what they needed while knowing that many of those items were locked behind our doors. I watched mothers not be able to afford formula at the grocery store when it was sitting on my shelves. I fielded phone calls of mothers desperate to get clothing, which was not deemed a necessity, and avoid the large box stores with newborn infants. I, like many small businesses in the Commonwealth, have plans in place. We will protect our customers because we have always protected our customers. We are ready to provide for their needs and to help them through this and get Pennsylvania slowly back on its feet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy. Really appreciate it. I'm State Senator Kristen Phillips-Hill, and it's an honor to be here with you all today. Thank you for your attendance. I have an incredible constituent. She is a mother, a teacher. She is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And she shared with me some information that just, it moved me. It brought me to tears. And I thought, I could read that statement from her to you today, but it would be so much more profound if you heard it straight from her. In the depths of her challenge and her sorrow, not understanding where the Lord was calling her as she was battling cancer, Angela Brockway founded Front Porch Donations. She thought that in her grief, she would find solace and comfort in doing for others. She's taken that work of Front Porch Donations and she has moved on to work with Community Reach. And she has been on the front lines of feeding the hungry in York County during this COVID-19 pandemic. And so it is a great privilege for me to introduce to you Angela Brockway.
Good morning. My name is Angela Brockway. My husband and I are raising our 3 children in York, Pennsylvania. I'm a former elementary school teacher. I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, graduated from Shippensburg University. I do volunteer at a food pantry in Red Lion near York, and it is called Community Reach. I am passionate about making sure that families have what they need. I have known hunger as a young child, and I am humbled to be able to give back in the homes and neighborhoods that resemble those that I came from. I have built a life that has moved me into financial stability, but my struggles as a child, a teen, and even a college student are never far from my mind. As I put myself through college, even then I knew times of hunger. And so this need to volunteer and give back is very near and dear to my heart. Our responsibility as neighbors and community members should be the safety for one another. Safety comes in many forms. The safety for families with children, teens, and even those postgraduates still residing at home comes in being able to provide, and income makes that happen. We are currently receiving phone calls from families who must cancel their appointment to come into the food pantry to pick up their monthly box of food. They have no gas money. As a volunteer, I am making these deliveries to their homes. It is not good. Hear me when I say it is not good. I am seeing the faces of parents who are in despair. Despair. They are completely overwhelmed. Many are experiencing shame. I see it on the faces of the children old enough to understand. I see tension, and I recognize the body language of a home filled with strife. This is not at all good. I believe we have people who want to go back to work and want to do so safely. Their confusion is heartbreaking as to why they cannot work. At our food pantry, we have had families sign up for food who in the past have actually helped us with fundraising efforts. Yes, business owners, the pride of our community, now seeking food from the food pantry. What concerns me is the lasting impact that this will have on the children and the teens in homes of food insecurity. For children who now hear daily conversations on when the electric might be turned off and why there is no money for gas. Parents are not all equipped with the gift of teaching and overseeing classwork from home. I worry about the homes where parents are overwhelmed, experience mental illness, or are even abusive. We are now going into month upon month of homes filled with this type of pressure, and I worry about the results like that of a pot boiling over. We are responsible. We can do our due diligence for returning to society, work, schools, and recreation responsibly. A 2019 USDA report estimated that 1 in 9 Americans were already food insecure before supply chains were disrupted. Job losses and wage reductions are pushing millions of Americans who otherwise never experience food insecurity to turn to such community resources in their desperation. And due to these sudden increases, the demand on many of our food banks across America are quickly running out of resources. Quickly, I will give you the numbers that we saw at Community Reach. We had 324 households in the month of April. We have 946 individuals, which is an increase of 131 since the month of March. I encourage you to do what you can as fellow Americans for local food pantries. They are under great strain at this time. We need help at our food pantries. There's no question about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela, for saying what I would have struggled to say as eloquently as you did. You know, the case has been made here today, and I was asked to sort of clean everything up and finish things up, and I find that the words that I've written may be, well, not sufficient. You have seen here legislators, community leaders, nonprofit volunteers, business people, all saying that according to the governor's metrics, according to the governor's data, we fit the criteria. Our letter that we sent to the governor, it was not abrasive, it was not cowardly, it was respectful. We know that we are the duly elected representatives of the people of our districts, and we seek to represent them with dignity. We pointed to the very metrics that the governor and the health secretary created to outline why York and Adams County, they're ready to move. In the interim, if the governor wants to continue to ignore our letters, we know what we need to do. I can tell you that the legislature is poised to put more legislation on his desk next week to call for the reopening of various industries because we know that protecting public health and protecting our economic health are not mutually exclusive goals. Over the last several weeks, my colleagues and I have had to explain to the people that we represent the governor's arbitrary and subjective method of closing certain businesses and picking winners and losers. The truth is, we simply can't explain it. We can't explain, again, as Representative Dan Mell said, you can walk down there into that crowded Lowe's or Home Depot to buy plants or for your vegetable garden, but you can't walk into our locally owned garden centers. We can go to the state liquor store and we can pick up a bottle of distilled spirits, but we can't take our pet to be groomed. They're not afforded that same opportunity. You can buy and sell a house in 49 other states, but you can't do that here in Pennsylvania. Why can a licensed beautician be closed why were some manufacturers forced to close while competitors received waivers? It has created confusion for many Pennsylvanians. Confusion has led to frustration. Frustration is leading to chaos. The patience has worn out. We cannot explain these decisions any longer to our constituents. The Senate is going to pass legislation to require the Department of Community and Economic Development to provide waivers to those industries that I mentioned, industries that are operating in many of our neighboring states. The bills passed out of the Senate committee just yesterday with strong bipartisan support, and I expect that they will be to our House colleagues by the end of this week. We are entrusting local elected officials, our county commissioners, to make the decisions on what is best for each of their counties. If the governor wants to be subjective and not clarify his metrics, I believe it is our county officials who can step in and fill that void. We're passing Senate Bill 327 onto the governor's desk to see if he truly thinks that our county elected officials are cowards. Again, we want to work with the governor. We want to collaborate. We want to have answers to the questions our constituents have raised with his policies. And I have to say that we no longer are able to explain. So we're going to do the people's business. We're going to lead by providing a clear direction forward. I want to thank you all for being here today. And I'm going to turn this back over to Representative Torrenecker. We're in his district, and he can field some questions from you all. Thank you again.
Again, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to thank Jean Latta Ford and Steve Latta here for hosting us today, and all of our speakers, community leaders, community activists, community folks that have been here, business owners. I really appreciate everybody being here and taking the time to share our story, share the story of Adams and York County, and why we're ready to reopen. At this time, in an effort to show some transparency and show that these press conferences can be conducted in the open and take questions, we're going to go ahead and do that at this point. And just so we're clear, I believe a lot of us will be available for questions individually afterwards, so that if your question doesn't get answered here, we'll stay around and take questions individually afterwards. I'm sorry.
Your message about the governor's order, are you pretty much telling businesses they should roll the dice and open up and see if these consequences come down? And if so, are you prepared as lawmakers to protect them if those consequences do come down?
Look, business owners make risk decisions every single day, and consumers make risk decisions every day. And I think our business owners can make the right call and do the right thing, that they can keep their customers safe and do things to manage their risk as they see fit, whether that's licensing or insurance. Those things are real every day for businesses, and they can make those decisions for themselves. They don't need government to tell them what to do.
Do you feel there's protection there for them if they do make that decision?
Well, I think the protection it's no different than any encounter they increase in a normal circumstance. There's always risk. There's always issues with liability and insurance and putting your license on the line, so to speak. So as a legislator, I think we will look at ways to protect our business owners. We always have. And I think we care about our business owners. We care about our employees. We care about our community members. We care about our constituents. And if an occasion arises where we can step up to the plate and help those people, absolutely we will.
I'm not sure if you had this mentioned from speaking, but do you have any estimate of how many businesses in York and Adams County have contacted representatives about wanting to get over the Christmas?
Hundreds, thousands. I mean, thousands. I think we all could give those stories today. I know Representative Mao read just a handful of emails that probably came through in a matter of 5 minutes. I can tell you over the last 6 weeks, I'll speak for me, we've heard overwhelming business owners and employees, workers that are struggling, terrified, scared of that next paycheck. And to your question, it's been we can't even count how many it's been. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
To add to that, just yesterday afternoon, I got a call from one of my local businesses that employ about 20 people. They claim they normally keep 6 months worth of reserves in the bank so that they can keep on going during rough spots. Today, they're making the decision not to lay off, but to furlough half of them. That's how serious this is.
Good, Alex.
One time I heard from all the speakers today was that you want businesses to open up with safety, and social distancing practices and all that. There's 75 people here in the school center not wearing masks. What kind of message is that sending?
Sure. I think as I kind of pointed out before, I think the goal here is that people can make decisions for themselves and put themselves, and business owners can put things into their own risk. We've taken the precautions today to allow people that can manage those risks and want to protect themselves to do those things. And I think that's a decision that individuals can make and businesses can make to manage their risk.
Okay, let me get this one. Yep. So, little background on my family. We have 3 kids. We got 10, 8, and 2. I just dropped off little girl at daycare before I came here. My wife is a doctor, a pharmacist. They've worked at the beginning of this without any PPE, without any closure to their pharmacy whatsoever. She came home every day. My family has never had a fever to date. We haven't been sick without any protection whatsoever, with her working with sick people. No one goes to the pharmacy because I feel good, right? Literally, the stories that we got when she came home, they had a drive-through window. Person came through the drive-through window, took care of them, got them what they need, and on their way out mentioned, oh, hey, yeah, my husband was in the hospital testing for COVID-19. We're not sure if he had it yet. Didn't tell them ahead of time. Again, no transfer. They were working without masks because the theory at the time, you don't need masks at all, right? When did these start? A couple weeks ago. We all went to grocery stores. We went to Lowe's, we went to Home Depot, we went to big box stores without any guidance, without any protection. Everybody here was picking up the same thing the person before them touched. We did not have community spread. Our COVID-19 epidemic in Pennsylvania is in long-term care. That's where people are dying. That is, long-term care is one of the most regulated industries in the Commonwealth, outside of nuclear power plants. That is the sole job of the Department of Health to protect those individuals, and they failed. That's the failure. Now we have businesses opening. Round the Clock Diner is open today using proper precautions. It's called risk management. Do you know who does risk management very, very well? The private sector. Do you know who does it very poorly? Government. Today you can walk into Round the Clock Diner. You're 6 feet apart from each other. They spray off every single table and sanitize it. There are no condiments. There's no salt and pepper. They take it away, they clean it, they bring it out. We had a big rally in Harrisburg a couple weeks ago. What was the comment there? Oh, we're gonna have a big spike in COVID-19 cases. Did that spike happen? No. What is the data saying? The data is saying that no longer is there a curve, it's downhill. We're moving in a downhill trajectory. What's the result of this rally today? Anybody gonna get COVID being outside with masks on? Some people don't have masks on. Is that gonna happen? No. Listen, my family took great risk for weeks on end. Not one person was sick. 2-year-old girl, 10-year-old boy, 8-year-old boy. That's the reality. It is fear-mongering, and our average age, unfortunately, of those fatalities is 79 years old in this Commonwealth. That is who we need to protect, and that is where this government has failed. That's why we should be pissed. So there is no reason that we cannot open up safely. There is no reason. When I look at the data of the counties that open, in that north central quadrant, there are 2 counties that the data says they should be in red. They're still open. The southwest county, Beaver County, they're deemed red because of a massive problem in a nursing home. Massive. 83% of their fatalities are from one nursing home. Just this week was the first time the state has responded to those fatalities of our most vulnerable that are supposed to be protected by this government. They have failed. They have failed to protect the citizens, and they have destroyed lives doing it because they think they know better than you. It's disgraceful. Thank you.
This governor's dictatorship. How do we end it?
Well, I think we've been taking measures we've been taking measures as a legislative body to pass legislation to put, it's been passed bipartisanship, showing the governor that there are measures we can take. I think Representative Grove kind of outlined some of the issues that we've realized here is that long-term care clearly is where we need to focus. Our most vulnerable or those that need assistance. So doing those things and putting pressure on the governor is what we've done, and we will continue to do that.
Those long-term care facilities, those workers are still out in the community, and that's something that the governor has said about some of the risks. But also on top of that, it's not just long-term care facilities. We've also seen outbreaks in the food industry, and those are people that have been working throughout this time period. What are you prepared to do to make sure those workers who do go back are protected, have some personal protective equipment, and so forth, to feel comfortable working, and for customers to feel comfortable coming back to shop?
So that's a really good question. I can tell you that today the Senate will be passing an additional appropriation. We will be sending over a measure that will make the Commonwealth's investment in providing resources to long-term care facilities to a total of over $507 million. We had a hearing in the Senate House, or the Senate Aging and Youth Committee, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee, where we received testimony from Secretary Levine, the Department of Health, as well as the organizations that represent those people in the trenches. Now, I have to say this, to the great credit of York County and their long-term care facilities, we, have had one fatality, and every life is important, and we mourn that. But when we looked at those numbers here in York County, we've had 9 COVID-19 patients in long-term care facilities in the county, as well as 2 workers, 1 fatality. Just on Sunday, we looked at that data, and what the data said was, of the 24 people who perished as a result of COVID-19 here in the Commonwealth, 23 were from nursing homes. 1 was from elsewhere in the Commonwealth. So, again, I was a swimmer. I was taught you stay in your lane, right? The Department of Health has 6 core missions, 6 core functions. One of those core functions are nursing homes. And what we heard from the nursing homes and the long-term care facilities was, we have been ignored. We have not gotten the resources that we need. We heard stories of not getting enough support for PPE, for testing. That appropriation that we will vote on today will put those resources into their hands. And I can tell you that the Department of Agriculture has been working. We recognized much earlier on that those food processing plants were a problem, and those resources are on their way as well. Thank you very much for that question.
Okay, thanks. We will all be around for questions after this. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here, and have a great and safe day.